All right.
All right, Rooster, where are we?
Oh, that's a loaded question. You mean like where are we in terms of universal energies, or where are we in terms of physical location?
Both.
Well, physical location, we're at 60 Bonifacio Plaza, which was named, I don't know when or after who, I should research that. But we're at Brick Alley Tattoo in Monterey, California.
Hell yeah.
I would say sunny Monterey, California, but
It's raining right now.
yeah.
Yep.
It's cloudy a lot here.
Yeah. It's
And-
always a little bit cloudier than Santa Cruz.
Yeah. And in terms of universal energies in space and time, man, we're wherever you want to be. We get to make it up. It's
Yeah.
all made up.
Everything's made up. We were talking about that the other day.
Yeah. I mean, we just get to, you kind of create it in your brain. This whole thing's an illusion.
Yeah. Life is absurd, and to pretend like it's not, it's just
No, it's amazing.
dumb. It is amazing.
I know. Imagine you woke up one day and someone told you you could be anything you wanted to be.
Yeah.
You could live anywhere you wanted to live. And it was all up to you.
And it is.
You'd probably create heaven.
Yeah.
So,
Would you consider yourself in heaven?
I mean, at the moment in time, I'm in heaven.
Hell yeah.
Or it could be hell.
Yeah. Depends on what you look at it as.
Your perspective.
Exactly.
Yeah, I try to wake up in heaven every day, but sometimes I think maybe, some days I'm just in purgatory. But then I drink some yerba mate.
This is delicious, by the way. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Cheers.
Cheers, mate. And, sometimes you wake up in purgatory, but then you drink your yerba mate, and hell, you're in heaven again.
And you do some tattoos. So we're at the Zen, we're in the Zen Prayer Project, wherever you're listening or if you're watching. We're Brick Alley Tattoo in Monterey. This is your shop. We'll get into that in a minute.
Okay.
I want to start at the start. Where are you from?
Okay. I'm originally from New York. And then the next question that people ask is upstate or the city? Well, I'm from Long Island. Long Island is a little fish-shaped island off the east coast of New York. And then it connects to, Long Island's split up into actual 4 counties. Suffolk County, Nassau County, Queens County, and Brooklyn County. So Queens and Brooklyn are
they're part of Long Island.
They're on Long Island, but they're boroughs of New York City. So if you ask somebody from Queens or Brooklyn where they're from the city. They're not from Long Island. And if you tell them they're from Long Island, they get a bad taste in their mouth. They don't want to be Long Islanders. Geographically, I don't know how we missed that in school.
Yeah.
But we did. I didn't know that Brooklyn was on Long Island until it was probably in college. And then I was looking at the map and I'm like, holy shit.
And you're from there. That's
I'm
hilarious.
from Long Island.
Well, yeah, New York City people don't want to say that, I guess.
No, they don't want to say that.
What's it like where you're from? Like in general, how would you describe it? Maybe as
I'm from Glen Cove, New York. It's on the North Shore of Long Island. What's called the Gold Coast. And I would say the town I grew up in was a good mix. I grew up in the blue-collar Italian neighborhood. And then on the other side of town, you've got millionaires on the water, and you've got Section 8 housing. So the demographics are all over the place. And the high school I went to at the time I went there was actually the 3rd most diverse district in New York. So it's kind of cool to see, all different walks of life in the same school district. It made for pretty fun sports programs. And it's crazy because if you grew up like that, I know if you grew up in a town, whatever, we'll just call a spade a spade. If you grew up in a town where, you don't have much mix in demographics, a lot of your viewing of the world is shaped by media and what they show on the news, in certain areas, but it's just not true all the time, It's like, whatever, we're not going to get into that. But it was awesome growing up like that. I'm really stoked that I got to see all the different cultures, and I went to school every day with different walks of life. And I think it really shaped a lot of our characters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What kind of kid were you?
Oh, man. Woo! I'm pretty much anyone you've known my whole life, no matter which area of my life it was, will tell you I'm the same personality-wise. My personality has been like this my whole life. I think it started when I was like 5 or 6. I think about I was shy, hanging onto my mom's leg constantly. And then like 5 or 6, I think I kind of just realized one day that, oh shit, I can just do or say whatever I want. And I think gauging people's reactions to things was, it's been fun ever since. So I was always a rambunctious kid. I was always loud. And I was always, sometimes in life I've had more of a filter than others. But yeah, I'm pretty much the same.
Just going for it, living your own heaven a little bit.
Kind of. I was actually big into sports when I was a kid. I'm what we call a closet jock. I love sports. I think that team sports build character and camaraderie, and it goes back to the whole tribe mindset. Mm-hmm. Where see, there's 2 ways I can look at this, because if I look at it from a political standpoint, I hate sports, right? Like I'm like, well, sports are a business where they keep us distracted. Like we go to work every day, 5 days a week, and most people hate their fucking job. And then they go home and they watch the idiot tube, and then they go to sleep and they wake up tomorrow and they do the whole thing over again, and you're just a slave to labor. And it's just so that they can keep us where we're at and then 1% where they're at. And in order to offset us rising together and think about, oh, we're getting fucking screwed, we're like, hey, just put a bunch of gladiators in an arena, and they'll focus on that, and they'll tie their allegiance to some team that doesn't give a shit about them. You know what I mean? Like I'm a diehard Mets, Jets, Islanders. My life has been terrible. And there's times in my life where I was so focused on those teams where I thought I was like part of the team. And then one day I'm like, what the fuck? I'm older than these guys now, and they're making millions.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting here broke.
And they trade players with other teams and stuff like that.
So fuck sports.
Yeah.
But then like if I come at it from like playing sports, it built a lot of my character, being around others, learning how to lead, learning how to follow. Your brain is like a toolbox, right? And I had a drill instructor in the Marine Corps teach me this. Think of your brain as a toolbox, and everywhere you go in life, you're going to meet people that are using certain tools. And some of those tools are good tools, and you can take that tool and put it in your toolbox. And then other people you're going to see using tools that don't work, and you just throw that tool to the wayside. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to put that in my toolbox. Because your brain, this is your home, right? And now your home is yours, you own it, but you can rent space out to anyone you want, but you get to choose who you rent your space to.
Yeah, that could be easier said than done.
It is, right? I mean, sometimes you let someone in, and then you want to evict them, but you fucking can't. They're there, you gave them the space.
Squatters' rights.
Son of a bitch. That's kind of what we're doing at Brick Alley. I can't pay the rent. Nobody gets tattooed.
Yeah. Fair enough.
I'm just kidding. We're all right.
Yeah, good business here. We had, while I was getting tattooed the other day, we had a few walk-ins. They were funny.
Yeah. The weekends are what makes this place go.
Yeah.
The weekends. It's kind of a cool concept because I was in the military. I was in the Marine Corps. And
I want to get into that.
We'll get into that.
Yeah.
But yeah, go ahead. We'll get into that later.
Well, where did you, so you're in New York. Did you move around at that point, or like where did you go straight into the military? How did
I was in New York.
Section after your
I
childhood?
actually wanted to join the military since I was a kid. I mean, fuck the government, but back then you don't think of it like that when you're a kid, right? And then 9/11 happened, and I was in 8th grade, and I was
in New York.
I was in New York. I was on Long Island. I was sitting in class in 8th grade. It was math class. The teacher never came in from the hallway, and myself and the other kids are kind of looking around like, what's going on? Where's our teacher? And we're kind of stoked, we're giddy. We're like, hey, the teacher didn't come in. It's already been 20 minutes into class. We're fucking chilling. We're throwing paper balls around, whatever.
Yeah, it's math class too.
Yeah, but then all of a sudden there's these really loud rumbles happening, and the textbooks were shaking, and the windows were like shaking, and all of a sudden there was F-16 fighter jets flying past the school at really low altitudes. And then we were like, holy shit, we're getting bombed. Like, we're just kids, and we're like, oh, we're getting bombed right now. Like, we don't know that those are our jets. We don't even know what happened.
Yeah,
and
you're
then,
just in a classroom.
As soon as that happened, our teacher came in, and she was like, hey, everyone sit down. We have some news. Don't worry, everyone here right now is safe. And we're like, okay. But now the problem here was that she didn't want to immediately tell us what was going on because we have kids in the class that have parents in the trade centers or parents in Manhattan at work. So they started coming in and rounding certain kids up. And it was basically all the kids that they knew their parents were in the city and bringing them to the guidance counselors. You know what I'm saying? So we're sitting there and she's like, oh, well, the Twin Towers got hit. And you're in 8th grade, right? So at the time, I'm like, what the fuck are the Twin Towers?
Yeah, you don't know Manhattan.
And then, you're a kid. Like, you've been there, you've seen the towers, you know the skyline, but you don't actually know what building's what, you know, unless your parents work there. Or I didn't. I was naive. And then I will say that after 9/11, that was the biggest sense of community I've ever felt in my life to that point. Like, I have this really significant metaphor where I say that, you know, when you look out at a forest, people tend to say, like, hey, look at all those trees. But, you know, if those trees are of the same species, it's one big tree, right? They feed each other in this root system underground. And without one tree, another one doesn't survive. And then we as humans think we could take a tree out of there and plant it in the sidewalk somewhere and water it once in a while. But that entire tree's life, it's mostly suffering. I mean, life is suffering, but it's mostly suffering because it needs its community to help feed it. And we need that as well, right? But we do the same things with ourselves where we isolate ourselves and build fences around this property that we bought and we exclude ourselves from everyone else. But we would thrive so much more if we had a good sense of community and I came to your house and you came to mine and we shared our water and bread, you know?
Yeah.
So with that being said, after 9/11, and I'm sure the whole country felt this, was the biggest sense of community I've ever felt. I think it was every Tuesday night after that, we all gathered at this memorial statue and we walked through our whole neighborhood, like a 1 or 2 mile route. And people would just come out of their houses, stand on their porches, some would join the walk, and it was like a candlelight vigil. And we would walk around and sing patriotic songs. Mm-hmm. Now, if I look back on this now, like, whoa, talk about a false sense of pride for nationalism. But at that time, as an 8th grader who was into the military and sports and all that stuff, I wanted to go fight for my country, right? Like, that's what you think you're doing. So this leads up through high school. High school goes on, I'm a rowdy kid. I was at high school basically, you know, I don't know, to play sports and chase girls. That's why I went to school. Yeah. And I was having fun. I got in a lot of trouble. I never harmed anyone, but I got in a lot of trouble for being a class clown or whatever. And I was like the captain of the football team and the wrestling team. And I signed the papers at 17, and then I didn't graduate high school. So I had to go into the military with what's called a J-12 waiver, which, yeah, fucking, I get out of high school and in July of 2006, June of 2006 is when I leave for boot camp to Paris Island, South Carolina. And I signed up as infantry. So I was a machine gunner in the Marine Corps. I did 4 years and got out. That's all you need to do. 4 years. You're done. I'm done. I wanted a normal life. Normal. Normality's an illusion, right?
Yeah.
What's normal for the spider is chaos for the fly.
Yeah. I don't think a lot of people would consider your life normal. But in the artist community, like, yeah. Let's go back to what was the military like? You have like a philosophy mindset. I'm not surprised, but I'm like, oh, you it seems like you think about everything in kind of like a two-way thing, like rebuttal to yourself.
Everything is two ways.
Yeah.
Right? Like you can't have one thing without the other. You can't have one side of a coin without the other. You know, there's heads and tails printed, but really it's just two sides of a coin, right? You can't have heads without tails, and if tails didn't exist, then heads wouldn't have to exist. Mm-hmm. So everything is two sides. It's the yang and the yin, or the yin and the yang, right? Which I think I read last night started in like 3000 BC. It's pretty wild. It started as these dashes and these lines. It had to do with weather and whatnot, and sun and dark.
Yeah, anyway, but the stack or whatever.
But yeah, everything is two sides. There's a flip side to everything, right? You can't have a front without a back, all that stuff. Get into the military, 2006. Get out in 2010. When I was in, I served. It was crazy. I went to School of Infantry on the East Coast does an East Coast Marine. In the Marine Corps, that's a thing. You're either East Coast Marine or a West Coast Marine. Because there's only 2 boot camps. You go to South Carolina, Parris Island, or you go to Camp Pendleton, California. And we call the ones in Pendleton, California, we call them Hollywood Marines. You know?
Okay.
But anyway, so.
What do they call you guys?
Fucking Marines, baby. So I go through boot camp, then I go to a School of Infantry out there on the East Coast, and then you're waiting to get your duty station. And they came to us, and there was like 186 of us. They were like, since the first time, since the 1980s, the Marine Corps decided to send East Coast Marines to a battalion on the West Coast. So here we are, a bunch of, I mean, you got to think about who joins the military. Like, these are like kids, fucking 17 and 18 years old. You know, if you're 24 years old and you join the military, you're an old man. And they're like, you're going to California. And I'm like, California? You know, I'm stoked. I'm like, California?
Yeah.
Never been there. I've fucking never even been, I've been on one plane my whole life. Wasn't in California.
No.
And I get off the plane in San Diego, man, and there's palm trees and sunshine, and I'm like, holy shit, this is amazing. Like a whole new journey, a whole new chapter of life. And I come from like a really big family that's centrally located in New York, and nobody leaves. They're all in New York. And they think that I'm nuts at this time for leaving. And my whole life, I'm like, I gotta get out of here. There's so much more to see out there. You know, the whole Jack Kerouac, like, I gotta get out on the road, man. And this, I think the military, not only did I want to do it and fight for the country, but I think this was my way out. And I got out, and I mean, every day was like a journey for me, except for the shitty days in the Marine Corps, because it's love-hate. But get out, and I don't know, we can get into the Marine Corps stuff, but I think I've been to like 13 or 14 different countries, and I don't know, probably 40 of the states. A lot of
just through the military.
Well, in the military, there was a lot of traveling in the other countries, and it wasn't always military things. Like, you would get there as military, but then you would have what we called liberty. So you'd go out for 4 or 5 days. You're allowed to have a hotel room or come back to the ship or whatever. But yeah, so I get to Camp Pendleton, California, and I'm just like, whoa. And I mean, don't get me wrong. If you ask any Marine that I served with or my platoon commanders, I was a fucking damn good Marine. But I was also a bad Marine. So like, I was a really good Marine when it came to like the physical attributes and combat and training, you know, and firing machine guns. But when it came to behaving yourself and not getting in trouble off base, I mean, I've been battalion level NJP'd. You know, I stood in front and had my rank taken away and got it back. Like, I was a Marine, you know? I was having fun. I was living life. I was 18 to 22, I was fighting in combat, I was living. Like, everything you do in life, man, it's like if somebody gives you this fruit, they're like, this is the only thing you eat.
Yeah.
You gotta squeeze all the juice out of that fruit. You gotta get everything you can out of it. You gotta experience the whole thing. Mm-hmm. You know, and I try to explain this to my 6-year-old all the time. I'm like, dude, this is what we're doing right now. Experience the whole thing for what it is. Every aspect of it, get all of it in. Yeah. You know, so I think I did that with the Marine Corps. I was a good Marine, but I also experienced being a bad Marine. Yeah. I got out as an honorable discharge.
Yeah?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I did my time honorably.
Yeah, and so honorable discharge just means you left.
The troublemaker thing has followed, you know, from the age of elementary to through high school. Still always found my way as a positive, contributing member of society. In a way. Got into the Marine Corps. I think that my overall Marine Corps career is not shadowed by anything negative, right? Like, if you went to my Marine Corps friends and said, how was this dude? They'd say, oh man, I love that guy. And I love them too.
That's great.
Yeah, so this is good.
I mean, thoughts on it looking back, do you think it like kind of shaped you into, what happened to you after that point, if any sort of change? I mean, like you said, you still have a similar personality.
No, it was a disaster for a little bit. When I got out of the Marine Corps, I had some personal things happen in relationship-wise, with some friends, whatever. I originally was moving to Texas. We don't have to get into that. I moved back to New York, and I'm going to go to college. Oh. And don't get me wrong, my father is an amazing man. He's a great father. I love my dad. He's one of my best friends. I can call him and talk about anything. He's a very wise individual. When I called him and told him I was going to college, he was like, you couldn't even graduate high school. You know, a very kind of blue collar, rough around the edges, shoot it straight, you know, call a spade kind of man. You couldn't even graduate high school. But he doesn't understand at this time where my perspective is at. Like, I just went through 4 years in the military. I could fucking do anything.
Yeah.
You know, and I want to do it. So I go to a junior college. This is a funny story. Do we have time for a funny story?
Please, yeah,
I go to the junior college and I'm trying to, oh, this is great. I'm trying to get in. And when I'm filling out my paperwork, I'm in this office and there's like a line of students at the JUCO. And I get up to the desk and I give them my paperwork and the girl is like, well, where's your high school diploma? And I'm like, nah, it says right here, 12th grade completed. And that was on my military records. Completed 12th grade. And she was like, what does that mean? I need a document. And I was like, that's the document. And she's like, no, I need a diploma or we can't accept you. And I was like, it's fucking junior college. How do you not accept me? I just did 4 years in the Marine Corps. You could see right here that I was in Afghanistan. You're gonna tell me I can't come to the junior college? So then some lady, an angel in disguise, comes out of the offices and she's like, excuse me, sir, can you just get your paperwork and come with me? And I go in her office and she's like, hey, here's something that nobody knows about. It's one of the best kept secrets at Nassau Community College. And she said, if you don't have a high school diploma, but you go take the entrance exams and you are accepted, if your courses are matriculated, right, like if you don't have to do remedial courses, you can, as you pass classes, once you get to like a certain amount of credits, you send your credits to Albany, which is the state capital, and they mail you a GED.
Hey.
You never have to take the exam. I'm like, sick, let's do this.
Yeah.
So I go to, she's like, okay, go down to this building, take the entrance exam. So I get in there, and now I haven't done math or algebra since like 9th grade, because that's when I stopped going to math class.
Yeah.
So I get in there, and I had a cell phone. And maybe, you know what, don't let this next story, shape my character for you.
Yeah.
I had a cell phone, and my best friend growing up, Steve Cornreich, I texted him and I said, hey, stay by your phone and just answer my questions. Don't ask questions, just answer the questions. Don't say anything. Mm-hmm. And he's like, okay. So I sit down and I open this math test on the computer, and the proctor, he was like a college kid. He didn't care. He's just sitting up there at the desk on his phone. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, hey, y plus 1z equals whatever. And he's giving me the answers, and he's getting them all right. And I'm like doing it, and I send it in, and it comes back at a 96%. And I'm like, I got this. And the guy's like, well, there's 2 parts. So I'm like, all right, let's get the second part in. So we go, and it's basically the next part is like algebra 2. And all the questions are just built off of the first questions. If you know this foundation, there's no way you can't get these right. And my phone dies. And I'm like, fuck, this ain't gonna look good.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to answer the questions, and I get like a 55. And the dude's like, yo, man, what happened? And I'm like, I had it. I was really remembering those things. And then by the second one, I just forgot. So he's like, all right, well, you'll have to take 1 remedial course. And I'm like, that's cool. Everything is a blessing in disguise, right? Like, I took that remedial course, and I had one of the greatest professors I had all my university career, and she basically reshaped my thinking of math. And I got the algebra down, and she's like, once you have this down, you can go through any course. You can go through calculus, you know? Mm. So I'm like, sick. Math ends up becoming like one of my favorite subjects in college. And I graduated there's more to this. When I was there, I decided to walk onto the football team, got my ass kicked in there. I was a little older, but I was really in shape at the time. Yeah. I didn't stay for the full season because I wanted to focus on my academics, because I was going to school to become a teacher. And I graduated that junior college in a year and a half with a 3.9. Which is pretty much, if you graduate that community college with a 3.9 that quick, you can go to any school, within reason. Mm-hmm. I mean,
You wanted to be a teacher?
I did. I went to school for teaching. I actually then was coaching football and wrestling at a local high school varsity level, and then I went through like my student teaching.
Shit.
Yeah, I'm here to teach you that you can go to school and not ever use your degree. Because the only reason that you go to college is so that you can tell the world that you're teachable, that you're learnable. Mm-hmm. You know, that's all people want to know. Yeah. Like, can you learn something? Can you stick out a program and learn something? Now, sticking out the program, I can usually do that for about a month. Then I'm done. On to the next adventure. 3 months is like the whoop. But tattooing, I love tattooing so much I'll never stop tattooing.
So what happened after college?
I was struggling with a lot of PTSD. And that comes, I think people think, when they think PTSD, they think of like shell shock and shit. And like, oh, if you see something that triggers something that he saw. But in my case, that's not what PTSD is. PTSD for me, it took me a long time to admit I was struggling with PTSD. PTSD for me was transitioning back into the civilian world. Understanding that everyone has problems and their problems are valid for them, right? Because to me at the time, if you told me that they were gonna amputate your leg, I wouldn't give a shit. I'd be like, shut the fuck up, stop complaining, let's move on. Yeah. Get the leg amputated and move forward. I still feel that way, but
keep moving. Yeah.
But at the same time, it was like, my friends just got out of college when I got out of the Marine Corps. And they're like, no, I gotta find a job and this and that and this and that. And I'm like, this ain't problems. You know, I watched my friends die. Those are problems. Like, so I was really angry about that stuff. And realizing when I got out that everyone's like, you just have to get a job or go to school. You gotta get a job or go to school. You're an individual. That's not true. We need each other. We need support. And when you get out of the military, you leave that support system. Those guys that were next to you that you did everything with, that camaraderie, that brotherhood, it's gone. And now you've got all these people that are individuals and judging each other and all this stuff, and it's really frustrating. And then if you do get a job, you're listening to somebody that's most likely not as competent as you are in getting a task done. And now you're answering to that, and maybe they're younger than you. Maybe they're older, but you've seen 2 tours of combat. So you're like, man, fuck you.
Yeah.
I ain't doing this shit. This is how I'm doing it. You know, so it's really hard to get into the workforce. It's really hard to adjust to the civilian life without that kind of military, we're gonna break it down Barney style help. You know what I mean?
How did you like start dealing with the...
Oh, it took me about 7 years. 7 years. I struggled with actually, what helped me a lot there is I met some friends in New York. I've known these guys my whole life, but I really started hanging out with them and building motorcycles. And I'm not a motorcycle builder per se. I can do some metal work and small fabrication. I know the ins and outs of a Harley-Davidson motor. I can do things. I can wrench on the side of the road and in a garage, but I don't weld or anything. But one of my best friends in New York, Matt Paris, is a really sick fabricator and welder. And him and our friend Smikey have a shop. I hung out in that shop every day. I bought a 1979 Ironhead Sportster. I got a flat tire riding it to college one day. My buddy Dave picked me up, brought me to the shop. By the time Matt got off work to meet me at the shop to change the tire, I'd taken the motor out of the bike. And I was like, we're gonna cut it in half and chop it, make a chopper. So that's how we built my first chopper over the next 6 to 8 months. And I was building docks on the water. Dude, I've done a lot of things. Stopped going to college, I was building docks on the water, on a barge. That was pretty insane. I was making a lot of money. It's the most money I was ever making. I was making like $85 an hour. Well, fucking struggling though. And then drinking at night and building bikes. Stay up all night and go to work at 5 a.m. Holy shit, I never survived today living that lifestyle.
Yeah.
But now I have a kid, like I love life and showing her a positive role model. But back then, man, I was running and gunning, baby.
Yeah.
We were having fun.
Just kind of, well, shit, now I'm considering building some fucking docks.
Yeah. No. Well, that was a pretty weird situation. It's pretty, how I got into that. It was like, I was building docks on the water, and it was like a private company that had prevailing wage jobs. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Fuck that, let's go.
How did you make your way to California?
The second time. Because remember, I was stationed in California.
How did you make your way to living in California?
Oh, so I'm back in New York, and I meet my baby mama. There's no other word for that, right? It's like, can we come up with a more professional sounding word? Like my co-parent, my ex-partner. There it is. So I meet her
Both of those things.
in New York, in Brooklyn, riding motorcycles, and man, we have a baby. Like, we knew each other for like 3 weeks.
Wait, really quick.
Yeah.
What is the motorcycle shop in Brooklyn, or are they still out of there? Or
Oh
is it
shit,
shop or
I
just-
forgot I tattooed this on you. Damn, that thing looks cool.
Yeah.
Sometimes I look at them and I'm like, damn, I did that?
Dude, it's a tough goat.
That's cool.
I
All right.
fucking love it.
So anyway, we're at another motorcycle shop. We're just riding choppers. We ride into Brooklyn, and I don't want to talk about how we met and like our little love connection because it's been heavy. But anyway, we end up having a baby. Fast forward a year, and some traumatic stuff happens in California with her family, and she wants to move back to California. So I walk into my job where I was making a bunch of money. Within this time of making that money and working at that job, I was trying to apprentice in tattooing. And we'll get into this later on, but this kind of is intertwined because there's a really good friend of mine, his name's Rob Hottie. He's been tattooing me since I was like 16 years old. And he's been tattooing for 20 years now. And at the time I was working, I was still hanging out with Rob, and Rob was riding motorcycles and stuff. And I was like, I want to apprentice. He's like, you should apprentice. But then he had all these other life things happening with his career, and I would go there and clean tubes and stuff. But, you know, I've been around tattooing since I was 16. Now I'm like 25, 26 at this time, 27 when Lindsay's pregnant, and I'm not tattooing yet. And I'm still working, and then I'm like apprenticing on the weekends, but then I'm having a baby, and I'm like, dude, I can't do this. You know, and I'm still like running around having fun at the same time. I'm still being a 27-year-old. Like, it hasn't hit me yet that I'm about to be a dad. You know, even though we're together and I'm there, it's like, I don't know if I'm trying to disassociate with this or not, but it's just a weird time of life for me.
You're still doing what you're doing, and then something was about to happen to you, basically.
Yeah, and we're living together, and we're having a baby, and I'm really excited for the baby. But the truth is, there's times, like, people say, like, that will make you grow up. You gotta grow up. And it's true, but you know, it's hard to grasp. I can't really explain it. Like, there's a love you have for your kid that you could never even imagine that love is possible. When you have a child, the love you have for them is, it's just inexplainable. You can't find a word for it. I can't. It's amazing. But where was I?
Brooklyn, had the baby.
Okay, so we're having a baby, and then something
then you
happens
had
here, and
to-
she
you
wants
had
to
to go
move
back
to
to
California.
California.
So we get on I go to work, and I'm like, yo, I'm out in 20 days. I'm leaving, going to California. Sell all my stuff, pack some stuff in a U-Haul, we drive across the country with Bo in tow. Bo in tow. So anyway, sometimes me and Bo will lay down at night, like last night, we'll like come up with poems, and like sometimes they come out super rad, and I'm like, man, I gotta write that down. I don't know what the one last night was, but it didn't have Bo in tow, but I'll use that next time. So
They just set up a little voice memo, man.
yeah, I should do that.
Like the easiest way to do it.
Actually, I have videos of her singing last night. We're like laying there and she's singing in the dark. Her songs are wild. They're just wild, and they're way too deep for a 6-year-old. Like, she's yelling, singing about feeling stuff in her soul, and then like, just stay by my side. I don't know, it's crazy. So, and one of my clients is coming, but he's gonna hang out and wait.
Cool.
I told him that we're gonna go after. But so, with this, moved to California. So we're in California, and things go south. They go sour with her and I, and I'm moving out, and I'm homeless. I'm actually homeless. First time in my life, I'm like, whoa. I moved away from my entire support system in New York. Now I'm in California. I don't know anybody, but I kind of know everybody on the point already because I've been surfing like crazy, kind of meeting a bunch of people.
Did you move to Santa Cruz?
Well, yeah, but at this point I don't know anybody when I'm homeless, but I end up knowing everybody. But I'm homeless, and I'm like, fuck, I don't know, I'm living in a truck. I have a truck, and I still have my kid half the time. So I would like get my daughter, and she's still in diapers, like I'm changing shit. You know, and I'm like hanging out at parks every day with my kid, and then like at nighttime, I don't have anywhere to sleep, so I bring her back to her mom, and then I go sleep on the street in my truck. Which there's like some stories about that, where one night I basically like fought a coyote. I didn't fight it. it kind of just snarled and stood a foot away from me. And I'm like, yeah. You know, like I don't have a weapon on me. I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
Anyway, I just jumped in my truck.
That's rabies.
There's like another night I'm sleeping and this tweaker is like looking in my truck and I'm in there. I'm like, what, are you gonna steal me, dude?
Yeah.
And then I like wake up and I climb over the seat and start the truck and he's like,
Jesus.
you know, he doesn't know what's happening and I'm driving away. Fucking mess. But there's this girl in Santa Cruz, her name's Pippi, and she like right away, she's a veteran also, and she's like, dude, you gotta use some veteran resources and get some help. And I was like, I don't really, at the time, I had way too much pride to go get veteran resources, you know? And she's like, okay, how much pride you got? Like, you're sleeping in your fucking truck, man. Like, you've got a kid, get yourself together. And I'm like, you're right. So I start going to these veteran resource meetings and doing all my paperwork and doing my things to get my life in order. And what's cool about this is I get on this program called HUDVash, which is basically Section 8 for veterans. And like I do the whole program, and it's like a 2-year program that you have to be involved in. And I get some housing, but when you get housing like that, they don't just give you housing, like they give you a voucher, and they're like, okay, so we'll help you with your basically we'll pay some of the rent because the market's so high, you know, until you can get on your feet, but you still have to pay 1/3 of your income. My income was like shit. So I had to pay 1/3 of shit. So it's like I was paying a mouse turd.
A little dingleberry.
When I would make a dog turd.
Yeah.
So I'm doing that and I get this house and man, I was all over the place, but I got this house and yeah, start doing the thing. Got like a safe, stable home for Bo. I'm on this program, but you're still allowed to work, but your income gets adjusted, you know, this whole thing. And I was on that for like a few years, but I was still working like side jobs and parenting. And really, it was kind of like an amazing 2 years because I surfed like 2 or 3 times a day. I usually worked for construction workers that were like, man, the surf's good, we're going in at 11 or we're leaving at 11. And I was just surfing everywhere, and I became good friends with Josh Hessen, who kind of took me everywhere up the coast. We would surf up north, you know, and I'm not allowed to say the spots, you know, because nobody knows the spots. But we'd come back to town, and you know how the point is. When you get to the point when I first got there, I mean, I'm a kook. No doubt that I'm a fucking kook. But I was a bigger kook when I started surfing, and you kind of have to get accepted in there, you know. You gotta like know the etiquette and learn, and they gotta see your face every day, or else they're gonna tell you to fuck off and go back where you came from, which is true. And there's 2 sides to that as well that I see. I was always trying to make peace with people, and at the same time, I could see their side of it. But violence is never the answer. Love is the answer. So I got big into surfing. Yeah, that's where I was in California. I had a house, had Bo, had the water, and I had therapy. And the water was a part of therapy. Water, surfing. I don't even want to get into how amazing you already know. But like all this energy is formed in the South Pacific. Somewhere across the fucking ocean, there's some activity happening, you know? And that wave is coming across the entire world, right? And the whole time it's like building energy, and it's positive and negative fucking atoms just it's building this wave, and it comes all the way here. And then just because there's like a reef or sand or whatever, if you've got a good groundswell, all of a sudden this thing forms, right? But this wave is only going to happen one time, forever. Like that one wave, that particular wave with those particles on it, that's one time forever. And you, who are only going to exist, you're a very small blip, right? Like you're nothing but a speck of dust. There's billions of dead motherfuckers and you're going to join them. We're just specks of dust on this fucking globe, right? And you got to be in the water at that time, all this little makeup of your fucking positive and negative atoms. And you got to catch that wave at the right time. And for that, whatever it may be, 3 seconds, 5 seconds, 10 seconds is pure euphoria. Like it's just you and that wave, and that energy is connected right there. And you're going to ride that wave. And it's a metaphor for life. You can ride it as fast as you want, as slow as you want, up and down as much as you want. You're going to get off whenever you want, as long as it holds up, you know? So surfing is really a metaphor for life, but when you're out there, it's like a real Zen practice where you're just in the water, man. You're out there with the fucking elements, You don't have a phone on you. You can't have a phone on you. So everyone out there with the watches and they see their texts, get the fuck out of here. This is the one time in your life probably, every day in your daily routine, that you get to just zen out and be on the water. Everything on land is out of your control. You can't be there for anyone right now. You're here for yourself. You're on the water. And all this energy's happening. It's fucking amazing. Like there's no, I don't even know another way to put it.
Who got you on your first wave, first board?
I did, man. I was such a kook. Actually, Chad, my ex's brother, brought me down to Monterey. And the first question I asked him, I'm like, are there sharks in here? And he's like, I've been surfing for 26 years. I've never seen a shark. And I'm like, man, they're in there. In the Pacific Ocean. There's sharks here. He's like, just surf.
That's not an answer. Yeah.
I know, so I surf. I later learned that, you know the way to test water for sharks in California? You take a spoon and you go down to the water and you taste it on the spoon, and if it tastes salty, there's sharks in there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's how you do it. So, anyway, I no longer care about the sharks. I love the sharks, and you know, if for some reason one day, knock on wood, they take my life, well then that's how I was meant to go. It's okay. It's part of the journey. But they're in there just living their lives, and they don't want to hurt you. They just make a mistake every once in a while, you know.
I don't think it tastes good.
No, they don't. They don't like us.
They don't finish us, really.
No, it's really sad actually, because you know, just a tragic accident happens and then you lose your life. You know, I mean, do you lose your life? You just go into a different form of energy, sure, but I mean, that's what I believe. Whatever you believe is right. What you believe is right, always. Market that.
Yeah.
Rooster says what you believe is right. Maybe
Whatever
not,
you believe.
though,
Yeah,
there's
like
a
that.
lot of shit going on.
Yeah.
People believe some crazy things. And I guess for them it's right. But anyway.
Exactly. You can't change that.
So surfing I used to say that surfing saved my life. I think a mixture between bow and surfing, you know, kind of saved my life.
Do you think you were like going on
I don't think I was
down?
going down, but I was struggling to find, you know, I was bordering nihilism, where it's like nothing matters whatsoever. You know, there was no hope or faith in a greater cause. It was just like, well, I'm living out here, I have a place to live, but I don't really have to work. Nothing really matters. And that's kind of you want to walk that line, you know, with some good balance.
Yeah.
Because like it's the whole order and chaos thing, where you want to have one foot in both, and that's pure nirvana. Because if you know, pure nihilism is, I mean, it's kind of a state of depression.
I think I spent most of my early 20s in pure like nihilism. Like,
Yeah.
nothing fucking matters. Like hedonism,
Yeah.
like all that stuff. And now I'm like seeing the other side. It's like, no, with that same energy, you can do the other side.
Yeah.
Because you know how fucking dark it is, and like, you know, okay, nothing matters. And then you know that, you're like, I'm gonna try the other side. Yeah.
Yeah, the other side is great.
Yeah.
I mean, it's wonderful, right? The greatest gift that you can give to anyone is to better yourself.
I like that.
That's the greatest gift you can give to anyone. You know? Like, the greatest gift you can give to me is being the best version of you.
Yeah.
Because it makes me happy to see you strive for good things, to be happy. And, you know, if you weren't being the best version of yourself and doing a podcast, well, then I wouldn't have the opportunity to sit here and do it with you. So this is the greatest gift you can give, by being the best version of yourself.
It's been super fun. I love this. You're a very dynamic person, by the way.
Yeah.
I have to say that. That's not that I'm surprised, but it's just it's really cool to hear just both sides of everything.
Yeah.
Let's get how the hell did you start tattooing?
All right.
Well, when did you start doing art?
Let me just get to this. I've been drawing art my entire life. I'll just give you a quick rundown. I've been doing art my entire life. My bedroom as a kid, right, I had all these drawings on there. Really simple drawings, they were terrible. They're still terrible today. When you tattooing in itself, in its own right, is a trade, right? People will be like, oh, he's a tattooist, you're an artist. Listen, I'm not an artist. We're all artists, right? You get good enough at bullshit, and you can call yourself an artist, right? Anything is art.
You're making a bunch of T-shirt designs.
Yeah. Well, if you get good enough bullshit, they call you an artist. Okay, so anyway, with this, I always thrived in art. I loved art. I didn't always excel at it, but I did it. And then I was really good in the trades, right? Like I went from machine guns I did electric for years through high school, and within college, and then I did all these things where I'm using a tool. And I had good relationships with tattooers. I've been around the tattoo industry, the community. I scrubbed tubes. I did all these things that go along with an apprenticeship. I was out here. Long story short, something happened out here where I had an opportunity to become a tattooer, and I called my buddy back in New York, and he was like, take the opportunity. And I'm 30 years old, and who the fuck's gonna apprentice a 30-year-old? Nobody. Anyway, that kind of fell through, but I had already purchased the machines I wanted, and I was painting Flash a lot. And I called my buddy in New York, and I said, dude, this is the time. And he was like, yeah, it is. He was like, go get an apprenticeship if that guy's not gonna apprentice you. The stuff that happened. And I was like, all right, man, what if I fly to New York? And he was like, yeah, fly to New York. And I was like, how long do I need? And since he's really tight with me, he was like, I was like, I'll come for 3 months. And he was like, come for 2. So you come for 2 months, I'll teach you everything you need to know. But I had already done kind of apprenticeships with him, but we're at different spots in our lives now.
Different level.
Higher wavelength. And I fucking got on the computer and I bought a flight for the next day. And I called Bo's mom and I said, I'm going to New York tomorrow and Bo's coming. I bought 2 tickets. And she was like, for what? And I said, I'm going to apprentice again. I'm going to do it. She was like, okay. And I mean, you can do anything you want in life. So, but there's rules to this. Yeah, rules are made to be broken, and any punk rock thing is breaking the rules. But I'm a firm believer in the passing down of tattooing in the industry. There's a way to do it, a right way and a wrong way. Now, you can do it the wrong way and succeed. And there's been a lot of tattooers that have, and it's great. But I think that there's certain, if you put out that love and respect for the craft and you do it the right way, it's going to give it back to you. That's just how tattooing is. If you're good to the tattoo gods, they're good to you. So, fly out to New York with Bo. I get all the support from my family where they're watching her during the day, and I think that I'm going to go to the shop in New York and I'm just going to hang out and tattoo. And I get there, and the co-owner is a really good friend of mine also, Danielle Vetter, has known me since I was 16, is like, fuck no. You're not going to come in here and we're just going to give you our trade. I don't care if you're here for 2 or 3 months. You're going to do it the right way. And I went in every day at 8 a.m., opened the door before everyone. I cleaned all the tubes. I scrubbed all the tubes because they're still using steel tubes in one of the shops. And there's 8 tattooers over there. So they all knew me for basically half of my life. And I was in there scrubbing tubes every day and sweeping and cleaning and mopping and dealing with customers and answering phones and doing all the things. And then Rob was like, hey man, this is kind of a weird apprenticeship we're doing here, but you're allowed to tattoo people if they'll let you, like your friends and family. But you still have to do all the apprenticeship stuff, and Danielle wants it. So Rob was really hard on me in those 2 months. He'll probably tell you it wasn't, but he was. Because we were friends, and we rode motorcycles together, went on vacations together, did all these things, and now he's like, I don't like the word mentor, but he's mentoring me and tattooing, and he basically just tells me I suck every day. And I think, at one point I cried as a grown-ass man, because my friend was telling me how much I suck, and then I'm going to be a shitty tattooer forever if I tattoo. I'll be in the middle of a tattoo, and he'll be like, you sure you don't want to be a car mechanic? And I'm like, fuck, I'm going to get this. So, end up, I do 80 fucking tattoos in 2.5 months. My brother's covered in shit. Lance is covered in shit. Danny Whitty's covered in crap. Bad tattoos. I mean, shit, I'm still doing bad tattoos. That's every tattooer's mindset forever. If you think you're good at tattooing, man, just stop tattooing. If there's tattooers that started in their house and they got this wand and they're in a tattoo shop now and they're like, yeah, my stuff is so good, you suck. That's it. And I suck. And we all suck. And you're going to learn every fucking day. And to the outside eye, that's a great tattoo. But to me, I see the imperfections and what I can do better. And then I'm going to get back there and redraw it or redo a color study or repaint it. And that's how you get better, right? Some people are just ultra talented in art. But there's a good saying that everyone should live by. It's that hard work beats talent. Hard work beats talent. 100%. You can be the most talented guy in the world at something. And you can show up. And sure, you can get all the claim to fame and be good at it. But if you don't go home and practice, if you don't eat, sleep, and breathe that shit, and the guy who is not as good as you is waking up at 5 a.m. every day to get his meditation in, to do his exercise, to surf, and then go right to the books, whatever it may be, art, painting, studying, reading, to get better, he's going to catch you, and he's going to leave you in the dust. And it doesn't matter how old you are. Like, I started tattooing late, but I'll be goddamned if I'm not going to be a decent tattooer. Like, some would say that I'm already a decent tattooer. That's bullshit. I'll be a decent tattooer.
Well, I love these.
Thank you.
For the record.
I love them too. That's what I'm saying is, sure, I put out good tattoos and I like my tattoos.
Yes.
Most people like the art that I put out. But I know that it could be better. And if I didn't know that, well, then I need to quit.
Yeah. Well, it's a practice.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, you're just going to get better. And I'm kind of intense when it comes to things like that in life. Like, if I'm going to take something on, like I said, the fruit, we're going to squeeze all the juice.
Yeah.
I'm going to do this till the day I die. Whether that's tomorrow or I'm 75 years old, I will be fucking tattooing. You know? And and I aspire to be somewhere on a certain level. And I study a lot of tattoos and other people's tattoos, and I study paintings, and I study all the old line drawings and references and all the things.
Who are some of your favorite tattooers?
Okay.
Stop for a second.
All right. My favorite tattooer right now, my favorite traditional tattooer is my coworker, Cody Hubbard. I don't even care how that sounds. Cody Hubbard, I call Cody the hidden gem. You know, he doesn't have the most followers on Instagram. So he's not, you know, he doesn't put himself out there. He doesn't, you know, to us he talks shit because he's better. But he doesn't like put himself out there and make this name for himself. He just comes to work and does his thing, and he goes home and he's a good dad. You know, it's the best, most humble lifestyle. But when I look at his tattoos, they're amazing. When all of us do. Anybody from this country that likes American traditional looks at Cody Hubbard's shit and is like, damn, that guy's good. Where is he at? And he tattoos here at Brick Alley. And I get every day to learn from him. You know, it's amazing. So, but some other names in the industry, I have to say, like Julian Bast, Martin Kazan, Danny Reed. There's so many talented, good tattooers, but I think my favorite ones not only have to do with their artwork, but the fact that I know what it took to get there. Mm-hmm. And they're not sitting there acting like they started tattooing and this was it. That's their product. Like, these guys will tell you straight up, I sucked. It took me 10 years to get here. You know? And I've only been tattooing for less than 2 years. But just because, you know, running a business, owning a shop, and like being a team member and gaining respect through giving respect has its own place on the shelf, you know, compared to like, oh, you've only been tattooing this long, you shouldn't own a shop. Because owning a shop at this time in my career is blasphemy. But I wouldn't have done this alone. Like, I wouldn't have opened a shop if it was just me in here. You know, I had the word of some really good tattooers that have been tattooing a lot longer than me that said that they backed me and that they would be here tattooing with me.
Yeah, how did you know you wanted to start a shop?
Basically, I was working at another shop. When I came back from New York, I had a job at another shop. I don't even want to say the name of that shop because there's so many bad connotations with it. But I went in there and I did what you're supposed to do as a walk-in tattooer. And I tattooed everything under the sun, everything that walked in for over a year. Like, it didn't matter what it was. Sometimes I was the only one in that shop. I was only tattooing for like 2 months, and I was the only one in a heavy walk-in shop, alone. The owner was running around Lord knows where. People walk in there like, I want script on my hand, I want this, I want that. And I'm like, fuck, yeah, I'll do it. I'd go in the back, hit the books, pull up some BJ Betts script, and be like, okay, I'm gonna try to do that. And then I would do it. And then I wouldn't charge them a lot because I'm like, well, I know they can get it better somewhere, but I need the practice. And that's tattooing, man. And I would go in there and just put in the work. And I tattooed like that for a year and a half, and then that place was going south. And I was like, I got to get the fuck out of here before my name and character goes down with this. So I like called a meeting with some other tattooers in the area that I know are really good, and they knew me and have worked with me and been to art shows in San Francisco with me and built a relationship. And I was like, hey guys, listen, I've saved up. I got the means right now to open a shop. I'm like, and the thing is, I have a good relationship with the military base that's in town because I was them. You know, I was those kids getting tattooed at 18 years old. You know, looking for a good shop that I felt safe in, that I felt was cool, that did the tattoos I liked.
Yeah, comfortable.
Yeah, so, you know, they come in here and it says military welcome on my window. You know, I have a Marine Corps flag right there. And I can relate to them. And they feel good. They get it. I get it. So those are my main clientele for walk-ins. But I had to leave that other shop, so I talked to them and said, you want to open the shop with me? And they were like, yeah. And Cody Hubbard was like, I already know the spot, man. And I'm like, sick. So he brought me to this location, and he's like, yeah, I've been looking at this place, man. This is the one. And I looked around, and within 4 days, I had the lease signed. And then I built this whole, then Cody came in with me and helped me rip out the carpets. This was carpeted, ripped out the carpets, and then I built all the walls and put up all these flash racks and everything else. And we just put it together, and within 3 weeks I had all my paperwork done. It's a lot of paperwork. It's all medical. I'm fucking health inspector stuff. And then we were good to go. We were going.
Yeah.
We were just working.
How'd it feel when you got to the shop?
It's good. It's scary. It's scary. It's like, it's really good, but you gotta know that there are really good tattooers that are not good business owners. And there are really good business owners that are not good tattooers. So if you can have both, man, if you can do the duality, if you can do your work, and I'm not perfect by any means. Like some, I love tattooing, and I also, running the business is a love-hate for me. There's a lot of things that I have to do that I want to do. I always want to have t-shirts, I always want to have stickers, I always want to have this. But when you're one man and it's a small business, you're doing your best, right? You're only making so much money. And if you're putting out shirts and painting the windows and buying flash and painting, like all these things cost money. And, and then you want to have a good space so that other tattooers want to come tattoo here, and you also want to have enough clientele that your employees, which they're really employees of themselves, that they can have a safe, cool space to work in and feed their families.
Yeah.
So there's like a lot of stress when it comes to that, where I'm like, man, this ain't about me. This is about Bo. This is about Cody. This is about Christine. This is about every tattooer that walks in here. This is about every client that walks in here and has to walk out with a good, positive experience and a tattoo they love. You know what I mean? And you got to make them feel wanted and loved. And I do. I really care about all my clients. I fucking care. Because without them, a lot of tattooers with these, check your fucking ego at the door, man. You know that song by Sturgill Simpson where it says, I woke up today and decided to kill my ego? It's never done me no good, no how. Because it doesn't. That's it. I check the ego at the door. Because when those people walk in here, you're fucking nobody. You're fucking tattooer. I draw cartoons for a living. How sick is that? Now, traditional tattooers will not say they're cartoons because there is an art to traditional tattooing, which a lot of people don't understand, in trying to draw an image and eliminate as many lines as possible, but still keep the image readable, and then put the shading in the right places to make it look like a good image of depth. It's fucking hard. It's a lot easier for us to sit down and draw something with a lot of detail where we can hide everything in. But a good traditional tattoo is open, simple, bold. So in 25 years, man, I will know that's a goat on your arm.
Yeah.
No matter what happens, I know that's a goat. There's not all this little intricate detail that's going to bleed in together and look like a fucking blob.
Yeah.
It'll be a cool blob. Anyway, so the thing is, with run the business, like, excuse me, you gotta, when clients walk in, man, like, those clients they're not tattooers. They don't know certain things. They see a picture on paper and they immediately think that can translate to your skin well. Now, there's some super talented, fine artist tattooers out there and realism tattooers, and I commend you. I never want to learn that style. I don't like it. I don't have the patience for it. I want bold, hard tattoos. A lot of black, fucking color packed in. That's what I like, and that's a personal opinion. You can like whatever you want, but that's what I'm going to give you. That's what I want to give you. That's what I'm striving to be really good at. Now, with that being said, when they walk in here, they don't know these things. So you have to teach them. You got to tell them. Somebody shows you an image and says, I want this. You say, okay, these are options. You can seek out an artist that's going to do that really well. Or you can do this style, an image like that I personally think is going to last longer and look better. Right? And this is what I can do and what I'm comfortable doing, confident that I'm going to give you a damn good looking tattoo. And that's what you want. Right? But don't make them feel dumb. You don't want to say that's a fucking dumb idea. Now, my friends and my super close clients, I'm like, that's a dumbass idea.
Yeah.
Right? But for the most part, somebody comes in off the street, they don't know. I just want to make you feel at home. I want to make you feel safe. I want to make you feel like I care about your tattoo because I do. And sometimes these tattoos, they mean a lot of things for people. You know what I mean? Sometimes they're, memorial tattoos. Somebody's family member died. Like, people think out there, they're like, tattooing's such a sick job, I'd be a tattooer. You know what it's like you're about to put some fucking fine line word on an 18-year-old, that's somebody's daughter. I'm about to tattoo someone's daughter for the rest of her life. Somebody really cares about every person. Every single person you meet in life, you should think about that as someone's father, someone's daughter, someone's mother, someone's son. You care about your family, somebody cares about them as much as you care about yours. So you treat them as if you'd want them to treat yours, right? And I try to think about that every time I'm going to do a tattoo, and that is stressful. Because you're like back there drawing and you want to make it perfect for them, and you know that they're going home and they're going to show everyone and they want to wear something that they're proud of. And it's all on you. So there's nights, man, you do a tattoo and they love it, but you don't love something about it, you don't sleep. So like I was saying, you know, that tattoo means so much for them, and it all rides on you. So if you don't like something about the tattoo, I mean, that doesn't mean it's not a great tattoo. There's something in there that you think you could have done better. You go home at night and you barely sleep. Like, I'll wake up every 2 hours and that's what I think of. You know when you make a bad decision one day and the next morning you wake up and you're like, fuck, I did that. It's like that, where like you can't sleep and then you get your phone out and you look at the picture and you zoom in and look at the picture and it's like, damn, man. Yeah, but I talk to tattooers that, you know, been tattooing for 20 years and they tell me to do the same thing. And I'll look at their tattoo and be like, that thing's immaculate. And they'll be like, man, could have done better.
Yeah.
Those are the guys that, those are the tools I'll keep.
That's how you learn, get better. Like,
Yeah.
if you think you're just shit the whole time, you're not gonna really, you know, get better.
Yeah.
What are some people's common misconceptions about like going to a tattoo shop? Someone who's never really done it, doesn't know how to communicate with artists or what?
I think like if you were gonna make a tattoo appointment, we have a saying that says everyone gets the tattoo they deserve. And that doesn't mean that you're gonna get a bad tattoo. But what it means is if you're gonna get something that's on your body for life, you should do the research, right? Like if you're gonna go get, you know, if you want an American traditional tattoo, you should do your research. Look in your area who does American traditional tattoos. Know the difference in their work. Be like, okay, that's who I want to get tattooed by. And make an appointment with that person. Stop. This kills me, man. People will be like, well, my friend will do it for cheaper, right? Or like, well, he said he'll do it for $200, but you said it's $350. And then if you compare the work, I'm like, fuck, man. How out of the loop are you? Like, you can't see what I'm seeing here in the two images? You don't see the difference in those tattoos? Go ahead and pay them. But usually I'll look at people and maybe you think I'm rude. I'm really straightforward. Like, I'm loving and caring and compassionate, but I'm straightforward. Yeah. So I'll look at you and you're wearing a pair of Doc Martens and you're asking me, you know, you're upset with the price of this tattoo. And I'll just look at them and say, how much were your boots? And they'll be like, I don't know, $250. And I said, those are going to last you a few years. I said, I'm talking about $250 for something that's going to be on you forever. What do you not get? What don't you get? Forever. Forever. You care about the boots more than you care about the ink I'm about to put under your skin that stays there forever? Pay attention. Pay attention! But anyway, it's like you're going to get the tattoo you deserve. You go to the right person for the right thing. And it's up to you to do the research. I'm not your dad.
Yeah.
I'm not your mentor. It's up to me to do the research for you on who's going to give you the best tattoo that looks like that. You got to do it, and you're going to get the tattoo you deserve.
You got the internet.
You get the internet. Fucking people walking around all day with these things. They're like looking up dumb shit. They're like, oh, look at this meme. Look at this meme. And then they're like, you know, something that's like geographical or something. They're like, oh, I didn't know that was north or south. I'm like, look at your phone. You're looking for everything. Yeah. Use the fucking handheld computer in your hand. Yeah. And read something worth reading.
Yeah. Like how to get a proper tattoo.
Yeah.
Or like
Now
how
I'll fire it up.
Yeah.
You want to get a tattoo right now?
Also,
That's another thing about tattooing is like personalities clash with the tattoo. Like sometimes I'm all hyped up. Like I tattoo really fast. And sometimes it's better to slow down, but some people, like the wavelength that I run at, I've noticed sometimes things come out better for me if I do them fast. Like that's just my speed, that's just my rate in life. It's like, so I'll go fast, but then when it comes to certain other aspects, man, it's like if I kick my shoes off, and I'll do that sometimes, like I'll just take my shoes off, put them under there, and when you do that, it kind of brings you into like the Zen space, where you can kind of relax and you see everything clearer. You go through them, it slows you down, you know? And I'll do that on like a bigger piece, so like take my shoes off and get in there. Common misconceptions, people will say or think like, they'll be like, hey, I just want this simple design. But that's like so demeaning to say to a tattooer. Well, because one, nothing's simple.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter what your design is. It's not actually simple, right? Like, you'll show me like a heart, which is like a perfectly symmetrical design that doesn't have any fill in it. So the line has to be perfect. And then the radiuses have to kind of match up, you know? And now you're talking about, if I handed you a piece of paper and a pen and told you to draw a perfect circle without a stencil, without a piece to trace, you couldn't do it, right? You're human.
Yeah.
So,
And on skin.
but now I'm gonna take a 1 pound vibrating machine and draw a perfect circle on probably a radius, you know? And you want it to be perfect. And then you come in and say, this is simple. It's not simple. Stop saying that. You know, simple for me is something out of my line drawings that I know exactly how I'm going to shade or color, you know, and I'm going to use the line weight that I want to use. Like, that's simple. But when you come in with your intricate designs or this, I'm not mad at you. I want to do it for you. I want to do it. I want the challenge, and I want it to be good. But that doesn't mean it's simple. And I think people say simple because they think if they're subconsciously putting that in they're subconsciously saying it, so it subconsciously puts it in your mind that it's going to be easier on the wallet.
That's all it is.
You know what I'm saying?
That's all.
I got this simple tattoo I want.
Yeah.
Oh, simple, cheap.
Yeah.
But that's not how it goes. You know, I'm gonna put the good work out. And you know what? To be honest, I suck at pricing tattoos. I'm fucking cheap. I give like the cheapest tattoos. Other tattooers are like, Rooster, what are you doing? And I'm like, I don't know. Fucking, it's a lot of money. And they're like, that's nothing. You know, you just did a $400 tattoo for $200. How are we gonna get work?
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh man, you know, just because I just remember where I came from, or like that I want to help people and I see myself in everyone. And I'm like, man, maybe it feels good to get hooked up once in a while.
Yeah.
And I get to put out a good piece of art that I like, enjoy working on and seeing, you know? And I'm like, that's cool that person. Think about the fact that when you're tattooing, my art is going to live on until every single person that has a tattoo for me dies.
Yeah.
Like, I might die tomorrow, but my art's going to live on to whoever I tattooed that lives the longest. You know what I'm saying?
True.
So like if I make it to 60, 70 years old and I tattoo that many people, well fuck, I'm probably gonna live. If I tattoo somebody that's 18 years old when I'm 70, you know, I'm gonna live another, if that person lives to be 100, I'm gonna live another 80 years.
Yeah.
You know, someone's gonna see the tattoo, they go, did that in my Rooster in Monterey, damn, my name's still going around.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
He's been perfecting all the time.
Yeah.
What is your idea of success for you?
Oh man, well, I think that our community, our society tends to measure success from a monetary standpoint. And this goes into like, you go to the grocery store. I got a fucking metaphor for everything, man. I gotta stop listening to so much Alan Watts. But you go to the grocery store, you know, you pay $300, you hand the $300 over and you're all upset about the money. But how crazy is it that we're giving away paper? And that's diminishing to us as we give away paper. The fucking paper, you can't eat the paper, man. The paper's just paper. The wealth is in the basket. It's the food we're gonna consume. That's the wealth.
Yeah.
Reshape the mindset, shift the perspective.
That we're so lucky to even be able to have.
I mean, we're gonna have food.
Yeah.
You're worried about paper. You can't eat the fucking paper. Anyway, so with that being said, I think I forgot what the question was.
Your idea of success.
Oh, so if my idea of success is obtaining small goals, right? Little goals at a time to create an opportunity for me to give Bo a healthy, safe, and stable lifestyle. I want to be able to afford Bo opportunities to succeed. And that doesn't mean with money. That means with love and happiness, and that she knows there's a strong father figure. I want Bo to be able to see that you can shift and change your direction in life at any time. You can start something up and you can win. You know, it's small personal wins. If you are happy, if you have let go of all attachment of others, if you have no expectations of others, if you live every day where you're aware that you create your own happiness, well then you're successful in my book. If you can treat others with the dignity and respect that you want to be treated with, you're successful. I don't give a fuck what you're wearing. I don't care how much money you got in your bank account.
Yeah.
That's bullshit.
That was probably one of the best answers I've had on here.
Yeah.
I have to say.
Yeah. This is successful.
this is success. This is it, you know? You build a community around here, and you're just helping people out, and also just perfecting yourself, making yourself better. I like that earlier too. Yeah, that's the best gift you can give to somebody.
Yeah.
Fuck. I think we're about to wrap this up.
Yeah.
Gotta get some good recording. Got double that. Anything you want to say to the people listening? It's gonna be on the radio. It's gonna be on the podcast.
One last thing I want to say is that
please.
if you have questions about tattooing, that you can feel free to reach out to me and ask. If you have questions about getting tattooed, you can feel free to reach out to me and ask. I'm never going to tell you that you're wrong or that you have a stupid question. I'm going to be honest with you in the sense that I'll tell you why something would or wouldn't work. If you're going to reach out to me and ask me about an apprenticeship, the answer is no. We have an apprentice. He's amazing. I love him. He's not my apprentice. I'm apprenticing myself. He's our apprentice as a shop. We already have one. But I would love to tattoo you. I would love to go over the designs you want and make something cool. And I'm always open to suggestions, to conversation. I'm just an open book. Call me and ask me. If you need help with anything in life, call me and ask me. You know, if you want to come over to my house and have tea, call me and ask me. I'm cool. I love it. I want to do it. I want to meet you. I want to get to... One last thing. I have this theory in life where I'm so upset. You know, I'm not afraid of death. I'm just upset about death because as far as I know, in that form of energy, I will no longer get to meet all the people that I get the chance to meet on Earth. As far as I know. But I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Hopefully I'm wrong. Yeah, I just want to meet as many people as possible and network and hear your story and see what you're doing and support you as well as you support me. I'm stoked on that. Yeah.
I feel very similar in that. That's the whole reason I do this.
Yeah, that's it.
I always get so pumped up after an interview. I'm like,
good.
It's always good to hear like what, you know, bring people's insides out and see what they're made of and like what their process is. This has been super fun.
Yeah, it's been awesome.
I got tattoos from you the other day, and I was just the whole time you were tattooing me, I'm like, this is gonna be such a good one.
Wow, that's nice. Thanks, kind words.
Yeah. So anyway, we should just stare at the camera again.
Oh yeah. Like me?
Yeah, and just Aussie style.
Oh, Aussie style's like this. Oh, hello. Come into Brick Alley Tattoo.
Let's do it.
Brick Alley! Okay, I got a client here. Peace and love and all the good stuff that goes with it. Yeah.